This time on Monkey Thieves, while Rani and the Galta Gang hierarchy continue to capitalize on temple handouts, it's back to school for Bipin and the splinter group exiles as they head for the safety of the suburbs. But just as their chances of finding a new base begin to fall apart, a ray of hope appears on the horizon. It's early morning in Jaipur's city centre. Bipin and the exiled splinter troop scour the streets searching for anything that might resemble a rhesus macaque breakfast. Anything being the operative word. The gang are in desperate need of food and water. Bipin and around 40 members of his group have seen things go from bad to worse following their shock eviction from the temple just a few days ago. They need to find a new safe haven, which isn't going to be easy. Here, outside the walls of their former sanctuary, sinister forces set to work, displacing or capturing any monkey stepping out of line. As if competition between 100 or so hungry monkey gangs wasn't enough. City macaque heavyweight Fang defends his territory with more might than ever, as virtually everyone struggles to carve out a living. Prime patches such as the Central Market have long been claimed by some of the toughest streetwise troops. Without a great deal of luck, the splinter troop stand little chance of setting up a permanent camp here. But for now, this spot seems to offer some temporary safety. Jaya, queen of the group, suddenly realizes she's being watched. She picks up her daughter Dimple and moves closer to her partner, Devdan. The eyes follow, and it's soon apparent this is no solo surveillance operation. The splinter group have attracted the attentions of a band of bachelor males. These wily wanderers were ejected from their birth troops as soon as they became sexually mature. From around 4 years of age, they're forced to roam the streets, looking for a new life. And most importantly, looking for love. The bachelor boys move in. Devdan has already lost his home. Losing Jaya or any of the splinter group females would be the final straw. Teenager Bipin backs his leader. But most of the group are reluctant to face any conflict. Although the splinter troop easily outnumber the bachelors, the odds aren't so one-sided. These rogue males have no young or partners to protect, so have virtually nothing to lose and everything to gain if they secure access to any of the splinter group's females. Severe fighting with skirmishes and raids could go on for days should the strong and dependable Devdan make a stand to protect his girls from seduction. Devdan has no choice. The splinter group need to focus their energy reserves on finding food and a new base, not fighting. He backs off, and the splinter troops scarper, distancing themselves from the bachelors' unwelcome advances. It's mid-morning at Galta Temple. Rani, Kamal, and the remaining half of the Galta Gang face a separate group of bachelor males who have entered their stronghold gates. But unlike their primate cousins, these visitors are welcomed by the troop. Well, they would have been if they hadn't arrived empty-handed or taken over the troop's much-prized bathing pool. The number of Hindus paying their respects to the monkey god by feeding his living representatives seems to be falling each day. The prospects of a late breakfast look bleak. But Rani's senses tune into the sounds of celebration just beyond the temple walls. In Indian culture, where there's fun, there's often food. Rani decides to risk leaving the safety of the temple to investigate. After shaking off the bachelors, Bipin and the rest of the splinter troop head out of the city into the leafy suburban streets. Here, there are far fewer dangers facing the gang, as well as far less competition. And although the feeding opportunities may be fewer, stealing food from some of these residents should be child's play. To Yash, an open window is an open invitation. The owners of this living room appear to have gone walkabout, so Yash just strolls on in. With no sign of resistance, the rest of the troop are hot on his heels. Bipin heads straight for a bowl of chivda, a traditional spicy mix of fried nuts and pulses. While Tito makes himself at home on the sofa and settles for petals instead. He knows there's a price to pay for Bipin's fiery feast. In the wild, the best treats are often hidden away, so the entire room gets a thorough going over. This flower bowl is intended to sweeten the air and add visual warmth. But Bipin finds a more important use as he cools his mouth after munching on too much spicy snack. A damp TV remote is unlikely to have much effect. But with Yash's interference, it seems it'll need replacing anyway. The noise attracts a neighbor. The splinter troop realize they've been rumbled and take flight. But with a witness on the doorstep, it'll be no mystery as to who's responsible for this mess. Back at Galta Temple, Rani's curiosity has possibly paid off. A group of visitors have set up camp outside the temple gates for a private picnic. And to the head girl's surprise, it seems they're setting a place for the entire troop. These pilgrims are taking time out from running their hotel business in the center of the town. Recently, the number of tourists visiting Jaipur has dropped sharply. Many hotels struggle to fill empty rooms as the economy continues to slide. Today, they're here to pay their respects to Hanuman, the Hindu monkey god. And by feeding the temple monkeys, it is hoped that the deity will deliver good health and prosperity. Cuts of cucumber just keep on flowing. There are treats to suit everyone's taste. It's been a long while since Rani or any of the gang have eaten as well as this. Little TJ packs his pouches through a brand new craving for cauliflower. The happy party hosts round off the feast with more spirit-lifting lyrics. Reciting ancient chants and prayers is also thought to attract good fortune. From Rani's point of view, it's certainly working. Back in the suburbs, Jaya and the Splinter Troop elders take time out to relax. The earlier house raid proved pretty fruitless, so most of the gang are keen to conserve energy. But they can't afford to rest for too long. Time is running out. They still need to find food and safe shelter before the day is over. Teenagers Bipin, Yash, Tito, and many of the gang's youngsters are somehow still full of beans. So they swing into action for some fairground fun. Young rhesus macaques leap at any opportunity to climb, jump, and swing. And this playground provides it all. Play activities are vital for developing their survival skills. But to Bipin and the rest of the gang, it's just a simple case of monkeying around. Adolescent antics like these will soon be over for Bipin and his partners in crime. In just 18 months, these 2.5-year-old males will be forced to leave the troop and face the harsh reality of leading a bachelor lifestyle themselves. As midday approaches, amusement time for one group of thrill seekers may soon be over. While for another, it has only just begun. Bipin and his buddies aren't the only gang full of beans. And they suddenly realize the playground is someone else's territory. The teenagers flee and head for safety. At first, it seems the fun is over and they need to move on. Until Tito spots an opportunity for a free lunch. It seems a group of school children may be about to get an additional lesson from the academy macaque. Tito has his eyes on the children's lunchboxes. While the children work up their appetites, the monkey thief moves in. Bipin is quick to follow. And it isn't long until the gang elders awake to also lay claim to a pre-packed lunch. The children continue to party while their midday meals go slip-sliding away. Jaya offers Dimple some private tutoring. Macaques often have unusual tastes when it comes to learning. For one unlucky pupil, the excuse of a monkey eating their homework is unlikely to be swallowed by any teacher. Eventually, hunger kicks in. As does the realization that some of their meals are missing. Upset soon turns to anger. The older children attempt to retrieve some of the gang's lunchtime loot. But Devdan is having none of it. In macaque society, when it comes to food, it's all about finders keepers. The big male lets the boys know he's not to be messed with, as do the rest of the Splinter Troop grown-ups. But there's one person the Splinter Troop hadn't counted on coming out to play. And this tormentor can out-trick and outsmart any primate on the planet. Dana Lal, the city's monkey catcher. This suburban neighborhood might seem sleepy, but the residents certainly aren't stupid. Dana had the call over an hour ago, as soon as Devdan and co strolled down the secluded streets. Here, even a single monkey stands out like a sore thumb. Unlike the bustling city, where a whole troop can blend into the background in a single blink. Bipin recognizes the van. He abandons his meal and heads for cover. Devdan, Jaya, and the rest of the Splinter Troop also take evasive action, scarpering for safety as soon as they spot their nemesis. Dana would have arrived sooner, but he was dealing with an earlier complaint on the other side of town. It seems the number of monkey troops seeking new refuge and food sources increases by the day. If the nuisance monkey problem persists, Dana may soon need some help. But not as much help as those macaques caught in the act will need. If it's a new home the monkeys want, it's a new home they'll get. The city's monkey catcher has the perfect solution. A faraway forest 60 miles out of town. He even provides free transport. Dana is on the Splinter Troop's trail. The gang head out of the suburbs, putting as much distance between themselves and their monkey-catching nemesis. After an hour on the move, Bipin and his group find themselves in no man's land. Here, at the very edge of the city, the homes and streets haven't yet been built. And many of the new projects look deserted. It's a far cry from the group's former residence. The grandeur of Galta Temple and the security it provided is just a distant memory. With the city and now the suburbs seeming completely out of bounds, the distant forests may be the gang's only option. Yash scans the horizon. Suddenly, something catches his eye. He moves in closer to investigate. Miracle or mirage? It's a temple. At last, this could be the new home the Splinter Troop have been searching for. Back at Galta Temple, Rani, Kamal, and their 40 followers relax after a belly-bursting banquet. Having command of the entire complex seems to be paying off, especially now there are half the amount of mouths to feed. And even though offerings of food like today's become fewer and farther between, the temple oasis still provides the group with their daily water needs and a safe retreat. Luxuries their exiled former associates are currently without. Although today has been a huge success on the food front, Rani has no guarantee the troop will find more tomorrow. On the rural periphery of the city, the Splinter Troop edge closer to what could be a fortress of their own. Provided another monkey troop isn't already laying claim to the site. Yash pauses. Something isn't quite right. It's no longer the fact there may be another gang in residence. It's the worrying silence, indicating that no one at all may be at home. Bipin and the rest of the gang approach the temple gates. It's suddenly apparent their dreams of a new life lie in ruins. This would have once been a busy Hindu temple with streams of pilgrims paying their respects and worshipping gods. But any signs of former religious glory lie abandoned in the rubble. Unlike their former home at Galta, it appears there are no resources to even whet the appetite of a single monkey mouth. The crystallized salt from the temple walls may provide essential nutrient, but the teasing of tongues adds very little to what's turned out to be a bitter end to the day. The banished Splinter Troop prepare themselves for what could be a very restless night's sleep. Out here in the ruins, prowling predators begin to rise. It could be a very long night. Tomorrow, the Splinter Troop need to come up with another plan. The prospect of having to fight for their former home now seems far more appealing. Next time on Monkey Thieves, the Splinter Troop head back to the city, but are faced with a brand new bunch of beggars cashing in their own charity chips. And as temple pilgrims jump to the rescue, cracks begin to form within the Galta Gang elite.